My sugar daddy paid me $2,000 a month just to text him. Like, this is actually a pretty amazing way to consistently make $2,000 a month. So let's get right into this story. So talk is cheap, but texting is expensive, according to one Indiana waitress. Bailey Hunter is going viral on TikTok for claiming a sugar daddy paid her $2,000 a month to simply exchange text messages with him. Hunter, who also has an OnlyFans page, took to the social media app last month to share her sweet deal of a story in a viral video that's been viewed more than 7 million times. The brunette bombshell says she met the unidentified man when she was 21 and working as a server at a Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant, and they struck up a conversation. The man left a big tip in his business card, and Hunter later decided to send him a text to thank him for the large gratuity. The two subsequently began corresponding. It was super casual, Hunter declared, adding that the man never asked for sex or explicit photos. Their mundane conversations continued until one day the man offered her money. I was complaining about owning a home and things breaking, the server stated. Then he just sends me money. It got to the point where he started sending me money without even asking, Hunter told her TikTok followers before revealing that cash kept pouring in for 3 years. And by the way, for those that are listening to this, this is a very attractive lady to keep in mind. So the man would frequently drop by the Buffalo Wild Wings to chat her up, and he eventually asked her on a date. On the outing, the pair went shopping, and the sugar daddy showered Hunter with gifts, including Victoria's Secret underwear. Bailey Hunter has gone viral on TikTok after revealing that a man blah 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 blah. She also alleges that the man gave her a credit card to use for anything I wanted. However, the relationship never turned sexual and Hunter soon moved out of state. I kind of gave him to one of my friends, she stated in the TikTok clip. He started taking care of her bills, taking her shopping. Now, this is like interesting, right? So, for the guy, it seems like it wasn't even about necessarily the person. It was more about he just wanted to take care of a girl, right? He just wanted to take care of a girl. That's it. What's interesting is that he didn't want necessarily anything more than that. Maybe he's afraid of women. Who knows, right? But either way, this is far more common than I think most people actually think. And if you are able to stay safe and you're a lady and potentially you don't necessarily really have to do anything but offer some of your time, it makes perfect sense for a lady to do something like this where they can basically print money every single month. They can literally just get endless amounts of money for basically not really doing anything but enjoying their life for like $2,000 plus. Doesn't really seem like that bad of a deal, right? Because, for example, there's probably a lot of women who might be making minimum wage or even less than that because, maybe they're getting paid like, under the table or something like that, where maybe their debts that they got to pay are so much that their job that they're working at doesn't actually provide them enough money, and yet they spend all day working that job when something like this might pop out sometime if they're attractive and end up potentially making way more in a shorter amount of time with less effort than their day job, right? This is like the same situation with a lot of ladies starting to do the whole OnlyFans thing where guess what? If they got a following, they could end up potentially making like 10, 20, $30,000 a month, if not more. Some ladies are making six figures, some are even making seven figures a month, right? So if you knew that you had this option available to you, where for the most part there's no risk to you, you don't necessarily got to do anything, and you could get paid more than probably everyone else in your social circle, why wouldn't you do that? Right? Like if I was an attractive lady, I could probably see myself going down this route just because of how simple it seems to just get this money. That being said, this type of lifestyle always comes with risk. So really, if you're someone in this situation where you're doing something like this, where you got a sugar daddy, what you should do is not spend that money on useless items. If you have a sugar daddy, if you're in that situation, save this money, pay off your debt, and invest the money for the future because you don't know how long this will actually last for. So you want to do your best to make as much money as you can and keep as much money as you can and grow the money you do end up getting. Because again, this is probably a very questionable lifespan of an industry. So you should try to do your best to get as much money as you can and make as much money as you can and invest as much money as you can. So Hunter also has an OnlyFans where paying customers can also exchange messages with her. I kind of gave him to blah, 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 blah. So after relocating to a new state, Hunter says she wanted to find a similar sugar daddy who would pay to text with her, but she wasn't in luck. All the men she met wanted more than friendly conversation, which most of the men who are probably willing to pay that amount of money or more would want that. I realized I had a unicorn, Hunter declared. Most sugar daddies want more than just to text. Because you got to think about it, for a lot of people, $2,000 a month or more is a lot of money. So, who knows? She probably will be able to find someone in the future that would be willing to do that. Perhaps she'll end up finding like a prince in the Middle East that is willing to pay her crazy amounts of money to do possibly weird stuff or nothing, right? Or maybe there's enough people due to the virality of her content on TikTok and all that kind of stuff that leads them to her business on OnlyFans, who end up deciding to text her by paying her to text with her. That being said, how long will that actually last? Right? You want to do your best to make as much money as possible to secure your financial situation, but then also give you the freedom of options to be able to do whatever you want, right? So, for example, in her situation, probably the best thing to really do is to get all this money, pay off all of her debt, so she basically has the freedom to basically do whatever she wants to do. This is why we push so hard with getting out of debt, because if you're out of debt, you can pretty much do whatever you want in terms of like a career or job or income wise because your costs tend to be so low. Meaning, for example, she could maybe only have like 500 people on her OnlyFans paying a certain amount per month, and it ends up basically covering her living expenses, and she could end up doing that for the rest of her life if she wanted to, right? Like that's the way that you got to think about it. Is like, hey, like getting out of debt decreases my costs so much, like my monthly expenses so much, that I have so much surplus of cash coming in, so much cash flow coming in now that I could pretty much go do whatever I want. If I want to go travel, I could go travel. If I want to go buy a car, I could go buy a car. If I want to go, you know, get, you know, blasted at like a bar or something, I can do that. I could spend like $100, $1,000, whatever, how much it is, and basically get completely wasted. And not really care about that. Or I could just, buy a brand new Rolex from the store for like 10 grand and not really care about it. Like that's the way you got to think about it, is like you want to have more freedom of options. So if you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40bucks.com.